Oh, this can't be life. This can't be love. It's gotta be more. This can't be us. What's good, y'all? What's good, y'all? What's good, everybody? Welcome to another edition of the No Signal Podcast with your boy, your host, MandoMan. You already know the deal. How's everybody doing? How's everybody doing? How's everybody feeling today? You know what I mean? Just checking in on y'all. Just checking in on y'all before I start the show, you know? Speaking of checking in, it's still, June, which is Men's Mental Health Awareness Month and shit, you know what I mean? So let me say a little words real quick to the boys, to the homies and shit. Just like I always say, man, just to keep it simple, like I say after every episode, like love yourself before you love anyone else, man. Straight up. Like you never know the impact you'll make on yourself just simply by showing yourself a little extra love or just putting in extra effort for yourself and shit like that, man. Straight up. And even like outside noise and shit, like society and shit like that. Like, you know, if you speak your mind these days, they try to cancel you and shit like that. You know what I mean? So just stay grounded, man. Just stay to yourself. That's what I do, man. Straight up. But honestly, bro, like don't listen to society these days, man. They gonna try and transition you to a girl and shit. They gonna try and tell you a homophobe, transphobe, and all this shit, bro. Like just for speaking your mind and shit. Which is crazy. I don't think I have any type of phobia. What is that? What is that one? It's not like, it's like a phobia or some shit. It's like thalassophobia or some shit like that. It's like when you're like afraid of like the ocean and shit, like the deep, deep waters and shit. Yo, I got that phobia right there. Excuse me, y'all. Let me look it up just in case so I don't look like a dumbass. It's like thalassophobia. Yeah. Thalassophobia, the persistent and intense fear of deep bodies of water such as the sea, ocean, or lakes. Yeah, because, bro, like you're just fucking floating in there. You don't know what the fuck is under you. Obviously, like there's animals and all these, you know, live creatures and shit under you, but you never know like where they at. And they already so immune, like accustomed to swimming in water and shit. So they just get from A to B like so fast and shit. That's the scary part about the fucking ocean, bro. Honestly, that's the scary part about the ocean. Like shit could come out of anywhere, behind you, in front of you, the sides, from the bottom. Like, bro, like fuck that shit, bro. Like that shit just like gets me like heated right now just thinking of that shit. I'm already fucking like warming up and shit. Fuck that shit, bro. On some Jaws shit, you know what I mean? Jaws, bitch, give me Jaws, you know what I mean? That bitch gave me Jaws. She ain't give me head, she gave me Jaws. Oh shit, bro. I'm already starting with the jokes, man. What can I say? I had a good day today. Like, obviously, if you can't tell, you know, my energy is a little up today compared to other episodes and shit. I don't even know. I was just fucking, what did I do this last week? I went to the basketball gym Monday. I got some runs in. I got about like 5 games in and shit. It was good. It was good, you know what I mean? But I don't know why, I don't know why that's that day. Oh, it was on Monday. So Monday, I got off work. I laid down on the couch for a little bit. I took a like little nap and shit. Like a 20-minute, like I tried to like, you know, do my little meditation and shit. But my mind was just so fucking drained from work. I was just like, yo, I can't even like focus on, you know, my meditation right now and shit. So I just ended up like zoning off and like just fucking like not blacking out, but just like spacing out, and then just ended up like almost damn near falling asleep and shit. And what else happened? I finally like this is like I don't know why I saved this video. I'm gonna play it right now. Fuck it. I'm gonna play this video. This is me talking like at night, on Monday night and shit, just like in bed, just fucking around and shit. All right, y'all here. Let me tell y'all. Yeah, this is me right here. A little story time of today, a little recap. So I woke up this morning, whatever, got dressed, went to work. At work. Keep in mind, this is like at fucking 11:30 at night. I'm already like fucking done for the night and shit. So I'm like, hey, yeah, I'm like talking like this in bed and shit. All right, so I'm gonna keep playing it. Hold on. I was just like, just out of it. I was like, yo, like, just not dragging the day, but just like waiting for the time to come. So, or at least like the last break. Pause. Or some shit, whatever, but I'm gonna keep going. So I got off, and when I got off, I was like, oh, okay, like, let me meditate, like, for 15 minutes and shit. And then I ended up getting like too comfy and shit. And then I opened my eyes and I was like, fuck, like blacked out. I was like, yo, like, I just want to fucking chill. I just want to chill. Like, no, I just want to chill and shit. Rest, recover, whatever. Like, so weird because I just like slowly but surely, like little by little, I posted some podcast clips on my Instagram, page. Yeah, I posted some podcast clips on my Instagram page and shit. So y'all want to go check that out? NoSignalPod on the IG. Yeah, I thought I had something on my nose or some shit, but NoSignalPod on the IG. This is me just pretty much saying like I guess the topic will be like discipline and shit. You know what I mean? Because discipline, I seen a clip. It's like supposedly all the shit that you don't want to do, but you do it anyways and shit like that. Like just discipline yourself. Like, oh, you don't want to do it, but you have to. You know what I mean? Shit like that. So, slowly but surely, I posted some podcasts, clips on my podcast IG and shit. And after that, I was like, oh, like, let me go outside and let me shoot around for a little bit. And like, keep in mind, I already signed myself up to go, play basketball and shit. So I was like, nah, I'm not finna be like a lag and be like, because I already told some homies and shit. Yeah, I didn't want to lag. Nah, I'm not finna lag on the homie and then, lag on the invite and shit. So I was just like, let me just like, get some shots up and shit, like whatever. So I got some shots up and, got a good little sweat in. And then I came back inside and I got like, my lifting done and shit. Lifting. But throughout that, I just like didn't think of like, the tiredness. Mm-hmm. Like, I didn't think of the tiredness at all. Like, I didn't think about, like, damn, I just want to be in bed. Damn, like, it's so weird, like, how our minds work, or, like, my mind especially, because I just, like, self-doubt myself. Yeah, it's crazy how, like, our minds work and shit, especially, like, in certain situations. Because, like I said, I was like, yo, like, just mad chilling. I was like, yo, this is going to be a chill day. I don't want to, like, do too much. I just want to take it easy on my body and shit. Monday feeling and shit. That Monday feel. And I was just like, slowly but surely, I was just like, nah, like I gotta lock in, like I gotta get right, like, cause that's like my schedule right there. I already got my own like schedule and everything for Mondays and Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays, Fridays and shit. Well, Thursdays is just like, like a cleanup day for me. Like, oh, go take my work truck to go get washed or go run some errands. Friday, same shit, run some errands and shit. And but yeah, it was just like weird because I was like, man, I'm fucking tired. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do that. And I was just like, just being negative in my mind and shit. And slowly but surely, I started like pushing myself. You know what I mean? Pushing myself and shit. But yeah, like I said, I already like, I wasn't finna lag on the invite and shit. But I was just like, in my head, I always like talk to myself like, I hate talking to myself in a negative way, but like it just always creeps in my head because like it's just there. Like the whole like self-doubt is there and shit. And I don't know, man, like it's just like crazy like the way like our minds work and shit because like now like I don't even doubt myself anymore. Like, I showed up and shit. And like showed up to the invite and all that shit but at the same time like showed up like in the game and shit because we was playing basketball and shit and like I hit a couple threes and shit. I got some boards. I got like 2, 3 assists or some shit, like in total and shit. Like I got some boards or some shit, but yo, like I was like hustling out there and shit. I could have dove for a ball, but I was like, yo, like I'm not finna go all out like that right now. But yo, it was like I was laughing at myself because I was like faded already after the after the games and shit. But just in general, bro, like let me just like, sum it up and shit. Like Monday, I don't know why my shot just felt so good. Like my shot just felt like on point and shit. And just like my whole attitude and shit just like shifted throughout the day. Like in the morning after work, obviously I was like zombie mode, like just dragging it and shit. And then when I showed up, I was like, oh, like the energy, like, oh, okay, like let's pick up the energy and shit. And yeah, it was just like, just don't doubt yourself, man. For real, just don't doubt yourself. Like, if you think you could do something, then go 100%, go 100%. But if you're like cautious with certain shit, you're not gonna get that full like 100% feeling and shit. And trust me, I know from experience, because like throughout life, I've always like been cautious about shit, like because I've always been like embarrassed and shit to fail. But failure comes with the success and shit at the end. So yeah, little words of wisdom, I guess, for the boys. But yeah, man, that shit was dope as fuck, man. That shit was a good time at the gym and shit. Speaking of the gym, oh yeah, like there was a little part, there was a couple times I hit a three and shit. I hit like 3 threes in general or in total throughout the games and shit or whatever, I think. Cause it was like mostly like we was all moving the ball and shit. Like, oh, okay, this person gets a touch, this person gets a touch and shit. We wasn't like, oh, okay, go ISO and shit like that. And everyone just like clear the fuck out the way. It wasn't like that. We was all like, respectfully, just like ball movement and shit. But at the same time, I was like pulling up in motherfuckers' faces and shit, straight up. There was one time I hit the shot and then like the dude like contesting, like my hand was like this and his hand was like damn near grabbing my hand, and I was just like, damn, like I was like got it over him. And I hit that bitch. I was like, shit, hell yeah. And I got like a game winning block and shit. Some dude on the other team tried to like do a Steph Curry step back for 3 for the win. Blocked that shit, got a tip on that, and it was a wrap. Goddamn, defensive player of the year right here. Defensive player of the year. Speaking of the gym, to get back at that one. Oh, goddamn, excuse me. Speaking of the gym, to get back to the whole basketball part of the show. I feel like this whole episode is gonna be mostly basketball and shit. Yeah, pretty much low key. But let me just say this, bro. I went to the Drew League Saturday, right? I went to the Drew League Saturday, and I went by myself, obviously, like all the other times and shit. So like, I just sat down wherever and shit, and I sat down in like like the middle spot where you could see like a good view and shit. So I sit down in the middle, and then like some dude was like, he was already sitting there, so like I just like sat in the same row, but just like keep some space and shit, keep some distance or whatever. But slowly but surely he was like like scooting over to me and stuff like that. And then he wanted to talk to me pretty much at the like in general and shit. So I was like chopping it up with him and shit, and I was like talking to him, and then like bro, like this fool was like, I don't know if this fool was like like slow in the head, or he was just being like a little tonto or some shit like that, like a little dumbass or whatever. But bro, for everything, bro, like I will say something, he'll be like, huh, like one of those motherfuckers, bro, one of those fucking people and shit. And then I was just like, oh, like, oh, like, oh, like whatever, like where you from, huh? And then he was like, oh, Eastville. And I was just like, oh shit, me too, like I'm from around there, I'm around that area. He's like, oh shit, what the fuck? And I was just like, yeah. And then I was like, you here by yourself or what? He's like, no, I'm here with my cousin. His cousin was like taking pictures and shit on the sideline and shit. So, but at the same time, it was like this shit, bro. Like there was like times throughout the fucking game where he was like lost, bro. I'm like, bro, like what are you watching? Like, is he watching the game, or like what the fuck is you like thinking of and shit? And I was just like tripping because like This fool would not stay still. He was like, and he wasn't even like handicapped or nothing, bro. He didn't look handicapped. I'm saying it like he didn't look handicapped, but I'm just saying like he kept like moving like jittery, and he just kept like, like just moving like in his seat and like shaking his legs. Like, don't get me wrong, I like jitter my leg too. Like I shake my leg too, but like this fool was like constantly like moving, doing something, and I'm just like, all right, like I don't know if this fool is like okay or some shit, but like as the games go on, fucking Swaggy P, y'all basketball fans, y'all know Swaggy P, Nick Young. For those who don't, this fool was he was on MHP Most Hated, and this and this was like, you know, like out of shape or whatever, and this was like, you know, just he had playing time and shit, so he was on the court like most of the second half or whatever, and then like I'm like, all right, come on, Swaggy. Let's go, Swaggy. Lock in, Swaggy. Like, you know, just talking my shit. And then this fool was like, he was like, hey, that's Nick Young? And I was just like, yeah. He's like, what? And he was like amazed. And I was just like, bro, like, he's been in the whole time. I'm like, you good? Like, I looked at him, I'm like, you good? Like, what are you watching, bro? And I was just like bugging and shit. But this is what really threw me off. This is the curveball he hit me with that I was just like, yo, I need to stop talking to this fool. I need to stop talking to this fool in general. Y'all know the game, the rapper, the game. I'm saying the rapper, the game, because this fool, like, I don't know where he got another, like, well, let me start. So the rapper, the game, his oldest son, Harlem. His oldest son, Harlem. I guess he's like, you know, like, well, he's like my age, not my age, but he's like what, 20s, 21 type shit. And like I seen him in the corner, like when the players walk in, I seen him in the corner right there at the door, and I was just like, yo, like, is that Harlem? Like, and I was just like, and they was like switching teams, like, oh, okay, one game ended, the other team gets on the court, they switch off. So when that was happening, this fool Harlem was just like standing there, you know, just like chilling and shit. And I was just like, damn, like, should I go up? I was like, in my head, I was like, bro, now is your time. If you don't get it right now, then he's not, it's never going to happen again. And I was just like, all right, let me go. I walked up to him, and I don't know why I was nervous, bro. I don't know why, especially like, I feel like I was nervous because I was there by myself and shit. And I was just like, oh, what's up, bro? Like, oh, what's up? Like, you know, like just awkward and shit. So I walked up to him. I was like, hey, you Harlem? He's like, yeah. And I was like, oh, shit, is it cool if I get a pic real quick? He's like, yeah. And then I was just like, oh, shit, well, that's what's up. And we was like posing for a pic, and I was like, big fan of your dad's music, bro, for real. And then like now thinking of it, I should have told him, like, I should have looked at the picture and told him like, fresh, like, oh, Impala. Oh, you know, just say some shit like that. You know what I mean? Like, just say some shit like that, bro. But nah, I just wanted to keep it simple. Like, I wanted to tell this fool, like, bro, like, you don't know, like, your pops had me in first grade talk about Crip niggas, blood niggas, essays, Asians, like all this shit, bro. Like, I wanted to tell him like so bad, like, yo, I was like so embedded in the whole like Black Wall Street movement, bro. Like, I wanted the hoodie, I wanted the fucking t-shirts, I wanted the GU Not shirt. I still want the fucking GU Not shirt, bro. Like all that shit, bro, for real. That shit was a fucking time. I wanted to tell him, like, damn, like, you don't even know. Like, I was, like, knee deep in that era. But I just didn't want to be one of those fans, like, that just kept talking and shit, you know? Like, so I just kept it simple, and I just, like, went back to my seat and shit like that. I got a picture. I might post it right now. Some shit, you know, something light. But, yeah, bro, like, besides that and shit, when Harlem went on the floor, you know, because he was part of the game and shit. He was in the game, you know, he was in the action and shit. But they put him in like the fourth quarter or some shit like that. So when he was in, I was just like, oh, like, you know, the game. Like, I told the dude that, you know, the stranger and shit. I was like, oh, you know the game? He was like, yeah. And I was like, oh, you know his son? And he said, yeah. And I was like, oh, that's the game's son right there. He's like, what? He obviously again, he's like, huh? And I was like, that's the game's son right there. And it got so bad, I had to repeat myself so much that I had to like raise my voice a little bit. So I'll be like, that's the game's son right there. And he'll be like, huh? I'll be like, that's the game's son right there. Like, you know what I mean? Like, just like try to get my point across. Cause like, bro, like I know I'm not speaking like low as fuck. Like you just got a trouble like hearing or some shit. Cause I knew I was talking loud because the people in front, they was like looking back at me like damn, like okay, we hear you and shit. You know what I mean? So so I told this fool, I was like, oh, that's the game son right there. And then he's like, oh, which ref? He said, which ref? I'm like, bro, what did you talk? Well, I'm like, what are you talking about? Which ref? The game, bro. Like, you know the game, the rapper, the game? And then he said, oh, nah. And then I was like, you don't know the rapper, the game? I looked at, bro. Oh my gosh, bro. I swear to God. I told this, he was like, I was like, the game, the rapper, the game. I was like, you don't know the rapper, the game? Oh, nah. And I like, bro, I was about to snap. I was like, you don't know the rapper, the game? And then he's like, oh, yeah, yeah. And he tried to like, recover and shit. He tried to recover. And I was just like, bro, like, where's your mind at? What you on right now? Like, where is you right now mentally? That shit had me fucking like, that shit threw me the fuck off. I was just like, bro, like, you don't know the rapper of the game. We in Compton right now. You don't know the rapper of the game. Like, oh my gosh, bro. That shit had me bugging the fuck out, bro. Oh my gosh, but yeah, I don't know. I might not even talk to another stranger at Drew League next time, honestly. Oh man, that shit was just so hilarious. All right, so I was gonna talk about like video games and shit. You know what I mean? Like throwback games and shit, like video games, like, and I'm not talking about like all the old 2K and shit. I'm talking about like old NBA Street and shit like that. All those fucking games and shit. I miss that era so much because it was just so simple. It was just so simple. It wasn't like, oh, okay, dribble moves, like how 2K is now, dribble moves, dribble moves. Oh, just to get an open shot, dribble moves here, dribble moves there. Oh, go this day, the misdirection here and there just to get an open three. Like before it was like that complex and shit. It was just so simple. Like comparing I was comparing like NBA Street, like the NBA Street type of game and shit. That shit was just so simple. Like every player moved the same way. Like, you know what I mean? Especially like, oh, okay, back then NBA Street had Yao Ming in there. You never see Yao Ming like, oh, like, like bobbing, like doing his shoulders and shit. You know, like how like black folks and shit, like we're like swaggy and shit, with like some style and shit, some finesse and shit. And just simple shit like that, bro. Like it really, like games don't really need to be like perfect. They just need to be fun and enjoyable and like have that replay value and shit. Cause if you bring NBA Street back now, the replay value is gonna fucking go up. Everybody's gonna want to play that shit, especially if it's the same everything. Like, oh, I'm dribbling. Oh, this fool jumps. He's in the air. Boom, pass. Boom, like alley oop and shit. Like it was just so simple and so easy to get like buckets and shit and just have fun with the game when you have this shit going on. Like all the street moves, the fucking off the heezy type shit, and then that move where they fucking do the cross and then they get on the floor and then they like do a little barrel roll and shit like that. You know what I mean? Like they do a little barrel roll or whatever and shit. And yeah, just simple shit like that. And obviously like the game back then it went by twos and three, like ones and twos and shit. You know what I mean? Like just like the real like street feel and shit. So you get a three, boom, that's +2. You get a layup, dunk, just 1 point and shit. Just simple shit like that. There was no fouls and shit. Obviously, you could get the fucking ball and like fight off the motherfuckers and shit like that. Just shit like that, bro. Shit was just so fun and just a good time, man, bro. Just a man, bro. Just a good time, man. For real. I fucking love those days. Especially just imagine like an NBA Street game just with recent players and shit. Like obviously they gonna have the legends, you know what I mean? Like obviously have the teams, but have like certain amount of players from the teams. You know what I mean? Like don't put the whole roster in. Put like the ones that are well known, that are like known to get a bucket and shit, that are just like excited to watch, maybe more exciting to play with and shit. You know what I mean? So I really like to see like an NBA Street game come back like that. Really, I really do. Or something like a NBA ballers. You know what I mean? Like the NBA ballers, I was like watching like a little gameplay yesterday. That's what reminded me to write down on the notes like one of the topics and shit. Like it just had like um yeah, like NBA ballers had limited players, bro. Like I don't even think the game had Kobe in there like that. Either it did or I'm just like I didn't see it in the gameplay. I was like, fucking with yesterday. But they had like just like the well-known players. Oh, okay, T Mac, Steve Nash, Dirk, VC, Vince Carter, fucking, Reggie Miller, Starbury, you know what I mean? Stephon Marbury and shit like that. Just like it had like a limited amount of players and like, oh, okay, you want to choose the location to go hoop at. You could either play in Yao Ming's, homeland and shit, China, or you could play Stephon Marbury's house or Kobe's vacation villa or fucking Vince Carter's sky rooftop and shit, rooftop fucking rooftop court and shit like that, just simple shit like that, bro. And then like obviously like the street moves, like man, that's the difference between when NBA was like at its peak. I feel like NBA was at its peak once like you can't really like say when the NBA was at its peak. Maybe you could say it was at its peak in like 2016 or 2011 when Braun went to Miami and it was his first year in Miami. Then everybody wanted to stay tune in and shit. Or what are the years like 2006? When Kobe was just scoring up the ass, putting the team on his back, even though we had, losing seasons before that in 2005 and shit like that. He was still that fucking number one option. He was still the Mamba. He was still that killer snake. You know what I mean? So, but you never know. Maybe NBA peak what's at it. Maybe the NBA was at its peak when Jordan was still in the league, or maybe when it was Magic and Bird rivalry back then and shit. Everyone in their grandmas was tuned into that. I know that for a fact because you go to the street right now. You ask anybody, Magic Johnson or Larry Bird, they're gonna be like, yeah, I know that. Yeah, I know that name. That name sounds familiar and shit like that. You know what I mean? Like, no matter who you ask, like they're gonna know like Magic or they're gonna know Jordan. Or maybe even Kobe shit. And LeBron too, just famous, just the legends, bro. Just the legends. But yeah, like I was saying about like, wait, did I move on? No, I'm still on the same topic. So like, yeah, just the NBA street. Like I talked about this before, like when AI, was in the league and shit like that. I feel like that's when the NBA was at its peak. Because you had the street and the NBA. It was just so fucking tied. It was just so connected and shit. And that was the beginning phases of like, oh, rappers want to be ballers. Ballers want to be rappers and shit. You know what I mean? So like, yeah, you see like AI show up, fucking chain hanging low and shit. Fucking just dress all fucking just casual and shit. And then you got Kobe showing up to the arena in a fucking Philadelphia jersey, shit like that. I don't even know. Just like when NBA was like, NBA was just chill. It was just chill. Like, you know what I mean? But the difference between back then and now, like players back then, they actually wanted to play. They actually wanted to play in the NBA. They didn't want to lose their spot. These days, fools don't give a fuck. They signed that contract, see the M's in their bank account, and then it's like, all right, like, we done with practice. All right, see y'all tomorrow. Like you don't really hear stories of like, oh Bam Adebayo. Now I'm not singling out Bam Adebayo. I'll say someone like a Jalen Green or like a fucking who else? Who else that is in the league just for the money and shit? No, just kidding. Jalen Green. I shouldn't even be saying that. Jalen Green could dunk on me, bro. For real. But I'm just saying, like, players, like, they get so into, like, their image. They get so much into their image instead of their body of work. You know what I mean? they get so much caught up in their image. Like you see Kuz over here doing fashion shows and shit or whatever, fashion week over here. Like all these players over here in fashion week. Yeah, you see them like getting, on the court pictures and shit while they overseas, but still it's like, you know what I mean? It's just like, bruh, like, you know what I mean? Are you in it for the league, to be a better player, or are you in it just for the money, just to have the money and buy all these fancy ass shit? You know what I mean? I feel like that's the difference between players back then and players now. Players back then actually wanted to be in the league, and players now, they just get in it for the money, and then, all right, practice is done. See y'all tomorrow. You know what I mean? What else? What else? Fucking, I hate talking about this Zion shit, but fuck, dude, this shit is going crazy right now. Mariah Mills, bruh. Mariah Mills, her account got suspended. Her account got suspended because she doing too much now. She over here threatening. I don't know who she's threatening, the NBA, the Pelicans, or Zion or some shit, but she pretty much said like, oh, if y'all don't trade Zion out of New Orleans, I'm gonna leak all the sex tapes and all this shit or whatever and all this shit. But in my, like, the first thing that popped up in my mind is like, bro, you're a dumbass. Like, if he doesn't consent to that, then you could get locked up. You know what I mean? Like, just dumbass shit. Because it's called revenge porn. Like, oh, obviously, oh, this girl, like, oh, he broke up with me, whatever. I'm a release his nudes and shit like that. That's revenge porn and shit. You trying to get your get back by, blackmailing them pretty much with their own dick and shit. You know what I mean? With their own meat, with their own pictures and videos and shit. Which is crazy, bro. Cause like Zion on a cam? Zion, you got it on video? Yo, let me get into a little story time right now from Monday at the gym and shit. One of the homies is fucking funny. This nigga Darren, yo. This nigga Darren talking about, I brought it up. I'm the one that brought it up. I'm like, yo, you got Zion out here fucking porn stars and shit. She over here threatening him, saying that she finna leak the sex tapes. And, that's what I was saying. And I was going on. And I was like, shit, do it. And then I was telling him, I was like, referring to her to fucking leak them and shit. I was like, shit, like, what the fuck? Do it. Shit, do it. And then he's like, yeah, fucking nasty ass nigga. He's like, yeah, you a nasty ass nigga. You just trying to see Zion dick and shit. And I was just like, bro, what? I was like, hell no, bro. I was like, I ain't trying to see all that shit. Fuck no. Hell no, I ain't trying to see that shit, bro. I'm just saying, like, yo, do it, shit. So if you do it, you can get your ass locked up and we don't have to, Zion don't have to worry about you and shit or whatever. But yeah, that shit is like, I wonder if other girls in the industry, in the porn industry, are like telling her like, hey, like, are you okay? Is everything good or whatever? Like, and that got me questioning too. Like, yo, is everything good? Cause like, she last night, bro, fucking last night, she came out with something. She came out on Instagram and then posted a picture. I'm not looking it up. I'm like doing something else right now. She posted a picture of like old conversations with Pop Smoke, RIP Pop Smoke, RIP Pop Smoke, rest in peace, respectfully. Yeah, she posted like the old conversations and stuff, and it wasn't nothing. It literally wasn't nothing. But she wanted to add on a little caption like, oh, the real ones know, and all this shit. But they was just like back and forth, like, oh, where you at? Oh, I'm in ATL. Oh, I'm in LA. Oh, I'm gonna have a show in New York. Oh, when you come to New York and all this shit. Like, it was just talking like that. It wasn't even like anything sexual. So I was just like tripping. I was like, okay, like, what are you trying to gain from this? Like, what kind of traction are you trying to get? Like, by bringing up Pop Smoke when your ass is already like knee deep in this Zion situation. Like, make it make sense, bro. Like, that shit just got me like fucking bugging and shit. That shit got me tweaking. Oh man, bro. But yeah, fucking a bunch of news coming up these days. Today there was a 3-team deal. I believe Marcus Morris got traded to Boston or Washington, and Washington sent, okay, so Washington sent Kristaps to Boston. Boston sent Brogdon to the Clippers, and the Clippers sent um, Marcus Morris to Washington, I think, with draft compensation. But at the same time, it's just like, bro, like, okay, Brogdon is on the Clippers. What is that? What is that gonna do? They're already trying to split up fucking Kawhi and Paul George and shit. Like, what are you gonna gain from a Malcolm Brogdon and shit? Maybe depth off the bench if he comes off the bench or if he starts. But if I'm the Clippers, I'm trading Kawhi and I'm keeping Paul George, bro. I'm keeping Paul George. I don't give a fuck. You could trade Kawhi. I don't care, bro. Like, Kawhi already fucked it up for himself. He should have stayed his ass in Toronto. If you asking me, if you ask me the real truth on like how I feel about it and shit, Kawhi should have stayed his ass in Toronto. He fucked up by going to the Clippers. And obviously, like, not only going to the Clippers, but trying to persuade the players to go to the Clippers and shit, or persuade the management, the organization, Clippers, to get Ibaka or Fred VanVleet or Kyle Lowry over here to LA and shit. Like, get the fuck out of here, bro. If you really wanted that, you would have stayed your ass in Toronto, bro. It's common sense. Like, oh, okay, you won a championship. What are you gonna do now? Oh, I think I'm gonna go start my own team. And but dude, you have your own team right here. What do you mean you want to start your own team and team up with someone else? This is your team right here. Y'all could have ran it back. Maybe went back to back. You know what I mean? Like, who won? Okay, so the Raptors won in 2019, right? All right, so they won in 2019. 2020 comes around. Then they would have probably played the Lakers in the finals and shit if they would have went all the way. But I don't think they would have went all the way because, you know, they got Milwaukee and shit, or fucking Philadelphia, fucking Miami and shit. Miami is some sleepers, bro. Y'all, like, motherfuckers be sleeping on Miami and shit. But yeah, man, fucking. Oh, also Bradley Beal to the Suns, CP3 to the Washington Wizards. Bradley Beal to the Suns, that means like no, not really that much depth off the bench. Like, yeah, you got scorers and shit, but there's only one ball. You know what I mean? It's not like, oh, you're gonna get a 30 piece from Bradley Beal, a 30 piece from Devin Booker, and a 30 piece from KD and shit. Don't work that way. Not unless you move Booker to the point guard spot. That shall be crazy. That's gonna be like his that one year where he was like going off and shit. I think it was that one year where he dropped like 70, 71 and shit in Boston. I think that was the year he like, you know, had that point guard, you know, role and shit like that. What else, man? What else is there to talk about? CP3 to Washington. I really don't know what they're going to do with CP3. Supposedly there's talks that they're going to buy him out or waive him, some shit like that, or cut him. He could go anywhere. But at the same time, like, where can he go? I feel like he will be a good fit in Philadelphia with Joel Embiid. That's my take. Y'all could do what y'all want with it. I feel like this should be the wrap of the episode right here. Should be the end of it. Because literally in 10 minutes, I'm about to go get a haircut. You see your boy need it. You see your boy need it. So, you know what I mean? So, just follow me on the socials. Y'all know it's the same as every time. Instagram, Twitter, NoSignalMondo. Spotify for the listeners, obviously, No Signal Podcast. My podcast Instagram, NoSignalPod. What else? What else am I missing? My TikTok, Uncle Mondo 7. The podcast IG, No Signal Pod. And kick.com/BeanMondo. I might stream after, you know, this uploads. So we finna see what's up with that. But in the meantime, peace and one love. Love yourself before you love anyone else, fellas. Peace.